hello.
Hi, Carl.
Oh, that's becoming what the intro is, isn't it? It's just hello. It's a bit, I don't know. It's
a bit.
Well, it's Sam and Carl Talk Movies. You might not know that, however, because I have the wrong branding on, and still the wrong. Now it's the wrong picture. Listen, this is how life works. Let's just take that off. Renfield isn't getting a background. Renfield isn't getting a background.
Not worth it.
Today we're talking about Renfield. Please subscribe.
And like.
So,
comment, share.
Yeah.
All
that. Do that stuff. Listen, this is an unprofessional one. It's last minute.
This is going to be the worst episode we've.
This could be the last one in the world. But yeah, there we go. Just get involved anyway. I watched Renfield today. Sam watched it a few days ago, I think. So yeah, it's kind of fresh in my mind. But yeah, we'll see what we have got to say. Obviously, it's a Nicolas Cage. Even though it's Nicholas Hoult to star, it's a Cage vehicle, isn't it? Still, you still got to have a bit of caging in there. Directed by Chris McKay. I don't know what else Chris McKay has done. That's how we told you this would happen. When we're like, I don't know, man.
I don't know who Chris McKay is.
Okay. So he did the Lego Batman movie and the Lego movie, that kind of stuff.
Okay, and it was written by Robert Kirkman, I think, who was like the Walking Dead guy, and there was it was a team of people that you thought, okay, they can do this, and it's got the comedy value of that. The lady in it, Akim Fenwer or Akim.
Well, it's not Akim Fenwer, is it? He plays for Wickham.
Well, what's her name?
I can't remember. I saw it earlier. This is the worst one. Now, Renfield IMDb page. This is the research today. I've got IMDb now.
You are
Aquafina.
Awkwafina. Big time.
Shit.
Awkwafina.
Listen.
This is going to be a disaster. From start to finish, this is a disaster.
That's it.
Awkwafina.
This is an absolute...
Okay, Fenwer.
Yeah.
I'm like a 1950s dad at the minute, getting these names wrong.
Big lad.
Comedy value of her.
Exactly.
There was the son of the mobster woman.
Can I just say she was
a few things
quite good in it. That she was quite good in it though. So it's not, it's just I didn't know the name.
And also surprisingly sexy for a 70-year-old woman. Got the voice of a very attractive lady. She smoked for 30 years. Kathleen Turner. There was something nice about her.
I didn't notice any of that.
Anyway,
she's 34.
She's not 34. The mother is not 34.
No, I was talking about Awkwafina.
Okay, well, this is a disaster.
Did you move on or something? You moved on to the old lady, yeah.
Yeah, because I was talking about the son of the mobster, the woman, and then you said, "Oh, she was very good." Then I went, "Yeah, she was."
You know what it was? I think we had an internet spurge, and I didn't hear something. That's what it was.
Yeah, well, let's not talk about spurging. Not on a YouTube video at this time.
Agreed.
It's just very dirty. But yeah, let's get your thoughts on it, Carl, because you said you haven't got much to say.
Well, I think we've got slightly different opinions for the first time ever, in that I quite enjoyed it. I didn't. Now, I'd already resigned myself to it could possibly be the worst thing that ever came out, and it wasn't that. So I was like, okay. I was like, all right. If I expect it to be like a 4 out of 10, I'm like, okay. It was better than that, in my opinion. Not that we're getting onto scores yet, but I like the way it looked. It was one of the best looking films I've seen for a while. I like the color grading and all that shit. It was well done, the way the colors popped out. Comical violence, which got more and more intense towards the end. There were some great kills in there. I thought that was fun.
Oh, I agree with that.
Particularly the bit where there's a fight on the land and she's got his arms and he's coming down and just stamps him in half. Phenomenal stuff. Obviously, we've got some vampire tropes in there. Vampire in the modern world. We've seen it a few times. The bits that I really did enjoy were Nicolas Cage, the confrontation in the apartment. I like that little scene. where he's like
It's funny.
defending himself with the book and stuff. It was funny. And
Yeah.
there's a bit later towards the end, he's just like, "You're a husk." I don't know. It was just the way Cage was just caging out, and I enjoyed that part of it. And the fight, the action was good. Okay, those are my thoughts on it. I did like it. No idea what score I'm going to give it yet. Give me your overall thoughts.
I didn't go with I think this is gonna be a 4 out of 10. I thought this could go either way. And unfortunately, I just sat right in the middle of all of that. I didn't think it was particularly good. I didn't think it was particularly bad. I thought, like I say, it looked good. It looked visually good.
Yeah.
CGI was good. The action sequences were fun. There was some comedy in it. I just thought there wasn't enough comedy in it to carry it as a movie for a start. It couldn't really. It was meant to be a comedy flat out, I think, but it just wasn't. It was like it was all the cliches that we've seen in these kind of movies before, kind of just wrapped into a more modern thing, right? And I guess my biggest the other thing that really annoyed me was there was no real look, we know that Renfield and Dracula have had this thing for so many years or whatever, but there was no real story development between those two. Like the apartment thing, you mentioned that scene. That's the only real time you see them massively like interact with one another. And I didn't feel like there was enough build between any of the characters as to what they were doing. The old trope of the woman on the police force, Akin Fenwa, you know, it's she her dad was a hero cop. Like it was all these classic tropes that we've seen before that you don't need to do. Like it and then even when they had that, they didn't really build upon it. It wasn't really important. It was just there. It was just a point that they'd made. So what I felt it was is like they had all these storyline points, but they never amounted to anything. They never really were anything. It was just a point in the story, and then it didn't
Yeah,
actually.
it's kind of shallow, and I see what you mean about because you can get away with it if it's just Dracula. You don't need to show much. We know who he is, but not.
Yeah.
I don't think that many people really know about having an assistant and all that stuff. So they should have spent a little bit more time. You just have that one scene, and maybe they shot more of that stuff, but they just cut it. But it's a quick scene at the beginning. Yeah, we're an assistant. Now I've taken him to a city. We're here for decades. That's it. That's the beginning, right? So they definitely could have spent a bit more time with those two together. And it was quite a funny relationship between those two. I thought they played it quite well as well. But this is what I felt about it. It should be. It felt like there was a show years ago on Netflix called iZombie, and it felt like that kind of show, just like more of a TV show than a film.
I think it would have been better as a TV show.
I think it would work a little bit better. Even some of the, where they sat on the bed together and the cop and Renfield and all that. The comedy was something like iZombie as well, and I do enjoy that show, but it isn't movie level, and it doesn't matter. You can make it deliberately B or C movie or whatever, but it just felt like this. I'd like to see a little bit more of Renfield, but I'd make a TV show. I'd make like a 6-episode TV show and just have it at that kind of level.
That kind of leads into the things where, like, obviously, I was talking about story points. Like, he's in like a support group, right, Renfield, for bosses that not for bosses, for people that are narcissists or whatever in your life, and all this kind of stuff, and whatever. And like, he's supposed to care deeply about these people. As you go through the film, you realize that it's only really at the end that you realize that he cares about these people. But there's been 87 minutes before that where you didn't realize how much these people actually meant to him. And it's things like that where, again, as a TV show, you probably could have explored that a little bit more and, you know, gone a bit more in depth into those characters and who they are. I thought the guy playing the lead counselor was phenomenal.
Yeah, they're funny,
I
and
thought he was really
there's a
funny.
couple of scenes. There's a couple of scenes, or 2 or 3 scenes with them, and those scenes are pretty good. And I like the funny stuff where, like, not Renfield, I'm getting confused. Dracula comes in basically, and he's floating up in the air, and it's like, oh, you're a bit more than a narcissist, then.
Yeah,
and then obviously it's just little funny stuff like that. I did enjoy the humor. It was kind of like light and silly.
Yeah, I mean, it was light and silly, but it wasn't enough to carry it as a whole.
Yeah,
Like, if it had just been purely a comedy, there still needed to be some real story direction, and the story direction was really. I think the story was meant to be about this guy getting away from a narcissist or whatever, but it turned into like an action trope and then a comedy trope, and it just became all these like things that I don't think they really knew where to narrow it down to like one main thing, and it all becomes a bit mixed up with the gang that are then after them, and then they join Dracula, and it. Why would Dracula need them? Like that to me again, he doesn't need them. He could have killed all those, but he didn't need an army of
well,
anyone to do anything.
the
Like,
way, yeah, I noticed. I thought maybe because he knew Renfield was probably leaving him, or he's going to have to kill him, so he'd need a new assistant, and maybe they would be useful at some point to get him bodies and that.
yeah, but then he's going to join forces with them, and then he has like a little flirtatious thing with the mother for like
Yeah,
2 minutes, and then that's just completely ignored again until and then you never see
yeah.
him in the same room
It is,
again.
yeah, it
It's
is a bit
little
messy
things like
like
that.
that, but I didn't think it was a bad film though at all. I didn't even think it. I thought I enjoyed it, but yeah, there's plenty wrong with it. I just didn't think about any of that. I was like, I just thought it's a fun, silly thing. Yeah, they could have made it better. It probably should have been a TV show, and not even like a big TV show with loads of money. Just a cheap,
Yeah.
fun
It,
thing with
that's the
practical
use of the
effects. But
budget before this was 65 million or whatever,
uh,
right? But they must have spent 60 million of that on the effects essentially, and that like I get it. The fight scenes were good. The CGI was great. Like it. I don't think I don't think it was a badly made film. I think they had the right intentions of making a good film. Just the story fell down a lot. I don't think the comedy was enough. It was too light. It was too fluffy. It was too. I get what they were trying to do, but it just didn't quite work. And like Nicolas Cage, you say he went full Cage, and he certainly did because he started off as a Transylvanian and somehow ended up being Austin Powers. And
yeah,
it was
I didn't think about
it was absolutely all of a sudden in the modern world he'd become British. And I
that.
was like, well, where has this come from?
Well, I guess that they'd spent hundreds of years doing this over and over again. I think that was implied, right? So he's probably, you can change your accent over
Yeah,
years. He's probably lived in Britain. He's probably lived. They didn't explain any of that,
but again, implied.
and
That's the problem.
also
Like,
it is just Cage, and he might have just woken up one day and go, "Yeah, I'm going to be speaking in this accent today, so you're
I'm
going
going to
to
be British
deal with
now.
it."
Yeah, and that was the problem is that I think they relied on Cage going full Cage. They relied on Holt being this kind of, even though he's the main character, he's kind of a side character in it. They mixed it up too much, where
Yeah,
it was like they were giving him the side character lines, but they were relying on Cage to make the big scene stealing moments. And he kind of did it, and he kind of didn't. And I think the scene stealing moments for me were actually the effects. Like when they go, obviously a part of the story is that Dracula is trying to get back to full power after being burned. Like when he's burned, that was
that's funny.
hilarious. By the way, like
Where he's
it's
like, "Are
just
you
like.
okay, sir?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "Yeah, all
Uh,
right."
but then I kind of thought to myself, like another part of that is he's been sick of Dracula for years. Why would he nurse him back to full health? Like,
He's that's the codependent though. You want to stay with your abuser.
yeah, but I
That's
mean, he
that's the
could have
point,
just
isn't it? It's
literally
like
ended
you
him
think, well,
there and then.
I've got this. He kind of helps me. I get powers and stuff, and it's probably that kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah, he could have done.
It was just,
But
it was just all a bit. There were too many holes. There were too many issues. Again, did I enjoy it? Sort of. Um, I just think it could have been a lot better, a lot better.
I enjoyed it in the way that I'd enjoy like an Agents of Shield episode or something that's just kind of fun. I'm not really that invested in it. I did like the way it looks, yet, but they definitely could. They probably could have made it like 20% better by tidying it up a bit and making the script better.
There
But
is
yeah,
one thing that I laughed at a lot in this
go on,
movie,
might have to
and
remind me.
it is when Nicholas Hoult spinning back kicks the son of the mobster woman,
Oh, that was fun.
and and he shits
vomits and
and does
shits
blood out of
himself.
that.
Yeah,
And
it goes
like,
into the X-ray shot, and you see it
yeah,
coming out both ends.
yeah, that was really funny. Like there were
Yeah.
moments that were really, really good. Like there were little nugget moments that were really funny and really good. It just fell flat as a whole thing for me. Like it seems like they had all these good, but like I said, they had storyline points and they had funny moments that they'd written into a script, and they kind of went, "It'll be fine." We've got these bits.
And it would have been
It'll
fine
be
as a
fine.
TV show. It would have been fine as a TV show, like a light
Yeah.
like Netflix series. That that doesn't really matter that much. That's what I kind of was think. I think that's why I liked it, because it did remind me of some of those shows that were just funny, silly, but they've also got some action and some zombie shit in it or whatever. Yeah, I Zombie was kind of like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It was that kind of vibe. It was just silly. Yeah, there's some monster stuff and there's some serious bits, but there's lots of funny bits and bobs. It's light enough.
Yeah, I just thought it was missing something.
I guess
I don't know.
I guess I didn't have any expectation. I didn't even think about things like, oh, that script could have been a bit better at the time, because I was just like, I didn't really expect anything. It wasn't I was expecting it to be bad. I was just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna sit. Okay.
I mean,
I actually but I think I was leaning towards it. It was gonna be real fucking bad, and it was better than that. So I don't know. It's kind of down the middle.
yeah. So
It's not
maybe
clear.
that's the thing, is that again, I didn't really have. I didn't think it was going to be really good. I didn't think it was going to be really bad. I just didn't know what it was going to be, and I
And
just kind of,
I'd say
yeah.
to people though, if you like the trailer, go and watch it and see what you think as well, and let us know. Just go and it's not some fucking masterpiece, but there are some really cool bits in it. It is funny, and the action scenes were great. On the whole, they were really good. They were inventive, especially that kick and that fight scene on the where they're going down the levels and stuff, and everyone's just getting their arms taken off. I like that stuff. Over the top
I
nonsense.
mean, that one scene at the motel where they fight about 50 people. It's
Yeah,
hilarious. Like that's
yeah,
a very good scene. And like I said, I think they had certain things written out that were really good. The apartment scene, the death of
yeah.
the guy at the end. Like, I thought they obviously had these bits, and they just thought, well, this will make a movie. And 100%, like you're saying, like if you like the trailer, like, there's going to be a niche of people that love this movie. Like, will give it a 10 out of 10, love it, think it's the greatest thing ever. And I think if I was 14, I think this would be one of my favorite movies
Yeah.
ever made in the history of man. Like
I
I think
I'm gonna watch it again, but again, not yet. But in maybe six
no,
or a
no,
year, maybe I might watch it a year down the road.
yeah, I
But
think I'll wait a while.
I would also like to see more Renfield somehow. I don't know if they'll greenlight a sequel now, but in something, whether it's a TV show, just something a little bit more of
Yeah,
this world. I'm not turned off from the world or the characters. I think it's fun. Um,
I mean there definitely could be like the Adventures of Renfield. There's something they could do with it, and
yeah,
it wouldn't need to have Cage. You know what I mean? It could be like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer thing, like you say. They could have episodic thing where each week they have to go and fight another demon, or
different
like
monster. Yeah, freak of the week or
yeah,
whatever it is. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
good plan
they
actually.
could do something like that, and I think actually that would be a better thing for it. And
Yeah.
I don't know if Holt would do it or whatever, but they could delve more into his character. Like they mentioned in the middle of the film that he just left his wife and kid, like, and they touch on it for
Yeah,
2 minutes.
because I didn't know if I'd missed that, because Renfield's teasing him, isn't it? It's like
Yeah,
you fucking left your wife, and it's like
yeah.
they didn't really go into that backstory. So yeah, maybe you need to do more backstory in the first place, right?
And then he had a coffee with the lady Akinfenwa. I still can't get the name right. Awkwafina,
Or
Awkwafina,
Kafina.
Awkwafina. Right, okay. So he goes and have coffee with her, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I left them, and I'm a real piece of shit." And it was like a 2 minute thing again, and it's just like, oh, come on, like we need a bit more. We
They
need
should
some
they should
substance
they
here.
should
Like
have done some flashbacks of like maybe how he met Dracula and stuff, and like what happened at the beginning.
they did do that at the
Oh,
start,
they get
but
yeah,
it
but
was
they get them
very
working,
limited.
together, didn't they? It was like, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I
There we
just
go. I mean, we managed 20 minutes of it. That's pretty impressive. I think.
Okay, well, there's more than I thought we were going to talk about. So if we're going to score it,
Yeah,
you go first because I'm still on the fence about my score.
I will go first. Now I've got a. We've obviously had a I'm thinking what we scored the other things, right? So I think it's not going to get higher than a 7 on the nose. I don't think it's as low as a 5. It's maybe like a 6.7 or something like that. 6.6.
Okay.
Kind of like just
For
above
me,
average. It's got potential.
so on Friday when I saw it, I gave it a 6.
Yeah.
On reflection, I'm going to give it a 5.4. The only the 5.4 is because there are bits in it and it looks good, and that's it. But there's not enough story. It wasn't. It was too broad as well. Like there was too many things going on. Not enough explanation of it. And like I feel like the real scene stealer of that movie was the son of the mob boss. I forget his name, but I've seen him in a few things.
Yeah.
Called guy. He actually was probably the funniest guy in the movie, and they didn't give him enough
Was
of
it
anything to kind of
Ben
get into. And
Schwartz? Ben
yeah,
Schwartz,
yeah,
David Lobo. Yeah.
Mentos is the guy, and he's been one of these guys that you see as like a guest character on comedy things for years, or he's been in like a little part in a movie or whatever. And like for me, he was the scene stealer. I thought the Awkwafina lady, while she was good, she was trying to carry the movie too much. There was like a thing that you could tell that was going on with her, where she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be the scene stealer." The same with Cage; he was going full Cage the whole time. Holt, I think, was just kind of like, "Okay,
But
well,
you're
I'm trying
you're
to
not
piece
gonna
this whole
not
thing
get that with
together."
Cage, are you? Cage is gonna do what he wants to do, isn't he? And it's
Oh,
probably gonna
Cage,
be
Cage, yeah.
it's
It's
probably gonna
either
be a bit
it's
over the
either
top.
it's either incredible or absolutely absurd. And I didn't feel like it was either of those in this,
Mm.
which is difficult, right? You're expecting one or the other,
Well, maybe part of it is
and
because
it's just
he knew that
mediocre.
maybe he wasn't the star, but he kind of is the main. It is weird about how it is about. They didn't really make it obvious that Renfield was the star in some ways because you always waiting for Cage to come back in and come back on.
Yeah, well, that's it, and it's yeah. I just thought as well, like where I don't know, there's just little jokes in it, like where he left the welcome mat out on the door, and that allowed Dracula to come in. Like, really?
What you could vampires get
It's
invited in though.
tenuous.
There's that rule as well, isn't there? So you can't
Yeah, but
come in unless you're
that's
invited in. It's like
yeah, but it said like "Welcome to my home" or whatever. That's not an invitation in. That is a real
wow, it's a
stretch
debate. It's a
of like,
debate.
yeah, and not one that I'm willing to go into because it really doesn't matter. But
What
it's
they could
like,
have done is not had Cage in it at all until like the last third. They could have just a bit at the beginning. Instead of keep going back to him, that might have made Renfield more of the main character. And then you're waiting for this like ominous thing to
yeah,
come back. And when he does, he's just a piece of shit. And he was a piece of shit towards the end, but you'd seen him so much in it as well. I think you should have just
yeah,
saved it and had him in it a bit less, but more
yeah.
scary.
I think you're right. I think you're right. They could have. That he could have been out of that thing for 45 minutes and not
Yeah.
seen or heard from or whatever, but he was just being this little creepy guy in the corner. Which, by the way, again, another little funny bit was when you first see him when he's recovering in the factory, and he's just his
Yeah.
like melted face, or whatever. That's funny, but it wasn't. Yeah, it just didn't do enough for me. But then again, this is one of those things where I'm like, we've talked about it before in the last few episodes. I might watch this in a year and feel completely different about it. It might be
Yeah,
that
I'm already feeling different about my score. I think I might have scored it a bit high, but I don't know if I'm allowed to change it now. But
well,
I
you've
still,
scored
I,
it,
I
yeah,
I'm still scoring it higher than you. I think, but
yeah.
I think 6-7 might be a bit high. But do I stick with it?
I think just stick with it. I think
Just
stick with it.
stick
You
with it.
said what you said. It's how
But
you felt. But
I'm saying, yeah, I still think probably higher than 6 for me. But I would probably put it in mirror 6-3. But we'll stick with 6-7. I'm gonna watch it again in like a year, or
yeah,
maybe over Halloween or something, and I'll come back to you.
yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's going to have its place. Like it's going to be a movie that's on, some random night on a Thursday, and you're going to
And like,
sit down and watch it, and you're going to go, "Do you
yeah,
know what? I'll just pop it on and see what happens," and you might
and
enjoy it more.
like anything, I don't initially over enthused about. Although I was a bit more. The second watch is never as bad for me because I know the bad points that are coming, so I'm never going to be that upset again. But this didn't really
I
have that
mean,
reaction to me. But I will probably enjoy it the second time because I know what it is, and I'm just going to really enjoy the violence a bit more, or little things that Cage does a bit more.
yeah, I think as well. Like I'm saying this, but I didn't enjoy Tropic Thunder the first time I watched it, which is an absolute classic of a movie. I know you don't like
Mm.
comedy movies, but in
Oh,
terms of like,
Tropic Thunder's an absolute classic.
yeah, but the first time I watched it, maybe I wasn't in the like. It's one of those things. Maybe I wasn't in the mood when I watched it. Maybe there was something. Maybe I needed to be in a group of people to watch Renfield where you can laugh at the same bits and what like that's. It was just
Yeah.
I went to a screening and it was me and another guy, and like that isn't a big atmosphere to really, and the reason why is that when I
you
got
didn't
there,
know. You didn't know what kind of
no,
film it was going to be though.
no, and then the reason why is that it was Friday was obviously the last day of the
Yeah.
kids' school holiday, so they were all going to watch Super Mario Brothers,
Yeah.
and it was like this. The cinema was packed, and I was like, "Oh, there's going to be loads of people in Renfield." And it was me and another guy, and
I've
this
only
other
been to
guy.
quiet screenings because I've been going in the afternoons in the week. So it's been there's normally 4 to 10 people in the screenings I've been in for everything.
It's a lot more than I was with, so it's yeah, and mine was like evening, so it's it's
But also, I think again, not that many general people are aware of this film. Really, not really. The marketing hasn't
no, I
been
think
massive because it's quite a low budget thing anyway. The nerdy people knew about it, and I'd seen it because I love Cage, and the cinema had a special Renfield thing on the wall as
yeah,
you're walking out.
I,
So
th-
I was gonna, oh
I
yeah,
just think as
that's out.
well the market is like if I was 14, 15, that market maybe they're not going to go that day. They're doing something else, like they're with their mates doing like you're not at that age. You're not going to rush out to the cinema to see something like that. Are you? You're
Yeah.
going to wait until it's on demand or Netflix or whatever, right? It's you're just not bothered, and so yeah. I mean,
I wasn't that bothered about going to. I was nearly not going to go and watch it at the cinema. I was like, I don't know.
yeah, I wish I hadn't now. It's it's one of those like
Yeah.
it is what it is, But there wasn't much out on Friday. We were a bit stuck for. I mean, I kind of wish we'd gone to see Super Mario Brothers instead now, but it's what it is, isn't
I
it?
do. I want to see that. But it's yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe I'll
I
wait till
still
it
want to
comes
see
out.
as well, but
Maybe we'll wait.
I
I don't know
couldn't go
whether
the
I'll
Easter
go.
holiday.
Yeah, maybe I'll go and watch that this week. I'll have a think about it.
I wish that was out already on like Sky Store or something. I could just click it and watch it at home. That's not a film
Yeah.
I want to really. I don't. I'll probably enjoy it, but do I want to go and spend the evening watching Super Mario Bros? Probably not. You know, maybe I'm just in a bad mood this weekend. Maybe I'm just a
I
miserable
I
piece of shit.
I think it. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really good. But yeah, I'm the
Um,
same. I don't know now if I want to go up the road to watch it or watch it at home in a few weeks. I don't
that's
know.
the kind of movie that I just want to. I'll pay 10 quid at home happily to rent that and do whatever, just to not go out in the thing. Spend 15 quid on popcorn. I'll happily just watch that. Pause it when I need to. Go
Or
for a
do
piss.
you not be
All that.
in a cinema with a load of kids? Because it could be if you go on a Saturday, it could be there's a load of 12-year-olds.
Oh,
In there.
just
Do
absolutely.
you remember, so years ago when they were doing like when they were back restoring stuff as or back rendering stuff into 3D years ago, I went to watch Toy Story in 3D, but it was a 10 a.m. Saturday. I didn't even think about it. It was
Oh,
10 a.m. on a
nightmare.
Saturday. I didn't even
Yeah,
think of it. It was just me, my girlfriend, and kids, and then parents.
yeah.
And it was absolutely fucking heaving. I got into a fight with children behind me. I think I might have told you years ago about this. 8-year-olds. They're about 8 or 9. Well, it wasn't really a
Better not be
fight, but
quiet.
it wasn't really a fight, but it was they were annoying anyway, like kicking my chair and all that. But there's a bit in Toy Story where I think is it Buzz rescues Woody or Woody rescues Buzz? One of those. I think Buzz rescues Woody from the neighbor's house, right? And they're abseiling from one house to another, the toys, to rescue him. And the kid behind me goes, "Yeah, right." Right? He goes, "Yeah, right."
Oh, like that's the
exactly. So I turned round to this child and went, "What is it about a film about talking toys? So why is that the thing you don't believe?" Like, I wasn't
also
joking.
the part of this that I love is that you're with your girlfriend and you're so neurotic that you have to turn to a bunch of 8-year-olds and be
Yeah,
like this. Oh, that's the thing. And I'm sure their parents are with them, surely.
probably on the end. So loads of kids, probably their parents were on the end. Yeah.
Oh, I
So
hate that.
that's the thing you don't believe.
I've seen before, I've gone to kids' films where I've seen the parents, obviously like the chaperone parent, will
Yeah.
drop off the kids into the cinema and then just leave.
Fuck off. Go and have a pint.
I was just like, they're just in the lobby, like just breathing because they've had to
Yeah.
deal with these kids, But I don't think Super Mario. I can't see myself going to watch it with a load of kids and do it. I just
But you
can't
could
do it.
get.
I'd
But if
rather.
you if I go, I'll go at night though. I'll probably go at like a 7 o'clock thing. So at least you're not going to be
Yeah, but
with.
then I don't know. Then it's gonna be all the stoner kids in it.
Yeah, but it's also been out a while now as well, so you're not catching it right away over Easter again.
Well,
Most people have seen it.
you wouldn't have thought that on Friday when I went. It was rammed, like wall to wall of kids and families and whatever. And it'd been out 2 weeks, I think, or a week and a half at that
Yeah,
point.
but
So
I
I
think
don't
I
know.
think
But
that's right because it came out the Easter week. So if anyone that didn't go to the pictures at Easter would have seen it the next weekend. So they're the two. They're the two big ones.
we've been to the cinema 3 times in the last 2 weeks, I
Yeah,
think.
three.
Um,
Yeah,
3 or 4, yeah. So every time I've gone, Super Mario Brothers has been there, and it's just been rammed, like rammed
fair.
every
There we
single
go.
time. So, it's just not for me. I'll wait. I'll wait for that one, and then we can review it when it comes out. No one's
We'll review it
gonna care
on
about what me and
streaming.
you say
We'll
about
review it on
that.
streaming.
Yeah, it is what it
Fine.
is. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
No, we said just before we started this. I don't think that's the problem. The things that we're like, I'm not paying to go and see that. We can review it when it comes out. There'll be still
think that
a bunch of
also,
people waiting to watch it then, right?
yeah, and I mean, it's we're the thing that we were talking about this before this episode as well. That obviously we want to talk about movies and whatever. We enjoy doing that, but and we're going to try and keep up with like the big releases, right? We're going to
Yeah,
go and try and see all the big releases. I mean, Super
all the
Mario
major
Brothers
releases
just
for
so happened
sure.
it was, yeah, it just so happens it was in the middle of other things that are being released as well that we were just more interested in. But
Yeah.
like, if there's a week when there's nothing, we'll just review a classic. We'll do something, or a film that's everyone's seen that we've never seen or whatever. Like everyone talks about Citizen Kane, right? Have you ever seen
Oh,
Citizen Kane?
the actual. Do you know? I've not watched it.
That's what I mean. Like maybe
Yeah.
we pick those movies that everyone lords over, and we just go, that was shit. In reality, that was, you know, everyone talks about 2001: A Space Odyssey being the best movie of all time. Never seen it.
I like it, but it's not.
Never seen
no,
it.
it- Yeah, impressive for the time for sure. I like what it is, and it's Kubrick being mental. So yeah,
Well, that wasn't a choice for him,
it was
unfortunately.
not.
Yeah,
My uncle
his
had
movies.
a load of the bits from the milk bar from A Clockwork Orange in his garden for years. I don't know what happened to them.
And do you know, Clockwork Orange? Never seen it all the way through.
Do you know? It's one of my that is one of my favorite films.
I think there was a bit of rape in there, and
Oh, there's a couple of bit.
it's never really
What
been a thing that I'm.
a bit of the old in out. I think was as Malcolm McDowell was pumping the boys up
That's
for in that
yeah,
film.
make, makes it sound better than it really is, doesn't it? Just makes it seem like hijinks, which I'm sure is the whole point of them, being the way they are. But I just,
I always
whatever.
liked it. I got it on video in the 90s, and just liked it immediately. I don't know why. It's just a weird kind of dystopian thing.
I mean, that's Kubrick all over, right? But
Yeah.
I just feel like whenever I've seen a Stanley Kubrick film, I just kind of think, yeah. Apart from The Shining, yeah, okay. All right, you know.
I couldn't sit through Eyes Wide Shut when I tried to watch that when it came out.
I couldn't get through that either. Yeah,
It was the
again.
first scene with Tom Cruise and Kidman or whatever getting high. I was like, I was like, ah.
Yeah, again. Yeah, you know. See you later. It's just this is what I'm talking about. People lord over these certain directors, and I just think, you know what? They're shite. But anyway, I think we've exhausted enough this week, Carl. As I will just ramble on what shit at this point. Because I hate
Yeah.
everything as I'm so tired. It's the problems of being 34, right? Yeah, late night and it's game over.
You need to take naps. You need to take naps.
I'm not a napper. I'm not.
I never was, but I quite like it now. But I very rarely go for an intentional nap. Although I did one day last week. It was when we were doing a podcast, and I woke up right before. But most of the time, I like just go. I'm not necessarily going to sleep, but I'm going to lay on my back and close my eyes.
Yeah, see what happens.
A 10 minute, and then you wake yourself up snoring, like, you know.
Yeah, I know the ones. So loud, like, ah!
Yeah, and then
I know the ones.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. But I think that was that was a difficult one. I didn't have a lot to say. We did get 20 minutes of Renfield down at 15 minutes of other stuff. So we will have the odd episode like this. But for the most part, there's a lot of good films out this year. We're just going through them later. Definitely things I'm interested in anyway. So there's going to be plenty to get into. We will go and watch some films together. We'll go to IMAX. Want to go to Everyman. And then, so stay tuned and all that. And listen, if this didn't bore the pants off you, just subscribe. And if it did bore the pants off you, do it anyway. Because getting on the ground floor, I say.
Just be good people in general. You know, help out the needy that are me and
the needy, yeah. Also, if me and Sam, we do have we have needs, and we both have. I've been in a wheelchair for 15 years, which I don't always talk about. So subscribe for that reason.
That.
Yeah.
He's just to clarify, allegedly in a wheelchair.
Well, my nan had a walking stick and a frame at one point, but she could run. Honestly, if she won bingo, she could run.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a million times.
Ooh! She would move.
Let's not, because we'll go too much into still arrogance if we start this, and I'm in the mood to really go off. So let's just, hey, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like us, tell us. Just say what you think.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
I don't mind what you say. So just say terrible things. Just say things. Interact.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right.
That's it.
That's been Sam and Cole Talk Movies. This has been the Renfield episode, the lowest energy one yet. We'll make sure the next one's better. And see you in episode.
Just like the movie, not worth it.
Was this episode? I think it's worth
4 or
it,
5.
but just this is episode 4. So we'll see you on episode 5. Subscribe, and I'm gonna press end now. Bye.